and then you'll show up at the audition. The top 10 scores will be placed, and that's that. So that's our percussion. Next, I'm going to talk about why do we rent an instrument versus purchasing an instrument. Your rent applies towards the purchase, whether it's a new instrument or a used instrument. And then say that your student, this doesn't happen to many, but say they start on trumpet, trumpet's not working out, and they like clarinet better. All the money that you've paid towards trumpet will just go right into the clarinet. Later down the road, if you want to upgrade, once you get to high school, the instrument that you've rented earlier, all of that is going to be moved towards the purchase of an upgrade. Please do check the prices and the rental programs. The off-brands pretty much just lead to trouble. I like to think of them as a disposable instrument. For instance, if I buy an instrument at the same place I can buy my meat, I know that as soon as that instrument breaks, I can throw it in the trash and get another one. So it's not really efficient, economical, or green. Those have just, they do a lot of maintenance, whether it's through a catalog or a department store or a non-music store or a pawn shop. You want to check that the music store from where you rent visits the schools either weekly or bi-weekly for service, and that they include the mouthpieces in a bundle in the instrument that you're renting. So where to rent, we have a list at the bottom of the supply list of stores of which we're aware to rent. So again, just be wary of the online because you're going to pay for what you get. And then Amazon, yes, it's cheap. I love Amazon. I'm an Amazon Prime member, but it's cheap for a reason, the durability, so just try to avoid that temptation. I'll stress many times that you just want it to have it in that bundle. We have recommended mouthpieces, and we do that because it's easier to play, it's going to get a better tone, it does make a big difference. So the generic one, the mouthpiece that comes with your instrument should be the one that's on that supply list that you're going to take with you tonight. Say that you already own an instrument, maybe your aunt played it or your cousin. If you want to have that checked out by a repair shop or other local repair people, just to make sure it's a suitable instrument. Sometimes if a clarinet's been in an attic for 30 years, it may need an overhaul that's costs more than the price of a new clarinet. Repair costs can be the same price as a new or gently used instrument. And then one thing to keep in mind is your student's physiological makeup is a little different than you. So if you played the trumpet, they might not play the trumpet, they might play the clarinet, or they might play the flute. We do have school-owned instruments. That includes the French horn, the baritone, which is like a smaller tuba that uses a mouthpiece of a trombone, and a tuba. There's a rental that comes along with that. We'll tell you more about that if you do choose a school-owned instrument. When you choose those instruments, they're not hard to carry, they are harder to carry. We have students that put a tuba on a skateboard and then they pull it home. We have students that have their French horn on a backpack on their bicycle. So this honeymoon period of October, when students are super excited about 6th grade, they're doing all of their work, you're not having to tell them to do their homework, they get a little tired in October and they get a little lazy. And so just know, like, is your student that student that's still going to haul it home? Also, for those larger instruments, we have a band homeroom that they can join, and they could just practice it here while they're at school and then go ahead and be done with that. And they do take their instruments home on the day that we have band. Students are welcome to come in before school and practice or after school and practice as well. Beginning band, here comes the ride, and it is a fun one, especially when you see the progress that your student makes in 8th grade all the way from 6th grade. It takes about 3 years to get really good at band. And so let's just start with beginning band. It's super fun, and we go slow to go fast. We want to get all the fundamentals under their fingers before moving ahead. It's 1 full year commitment. There are no after-school practices, and we have about 3 to 4 concerts a year. How much should your student practice? Pretty much almost every day, about 5 to 7 days a week. On the days that, if you kind of think of it as exercise, you're going to be as good as the time that you put into it. And then the great life things that it teaches your student is long-term goals, setting goals, doing something that's hard, overcoming adversity, and having that mental strength to push through something. And then beginning band starts in the summer. So summer band is where beginning band starts. Students that do not attend summer band are about the equivalent of a semester behind. You can still go on vacation, just show up as much as you can. If you've already got a vacation planned, definitely continue that vacation. If you're gone the entire time, just let me know and we'll try to find a private teacher that you could do and we'll get something worked out. But 97% of our students attend the summer band program. And we like for the students to attend the Kennard site because they're meeting other students that they're going to school with, and they already have, they know one of their teachers or maybe even more than one of their teachers coming into that first day of middle school. It's a small instrument setting, so all the flutes are in a flute class, all the clarinets are in a clarinet class. Each class is 55 minutes long in the mornings, and we'll give you those dates again when you leave tonight. Thinking about carpools, you're welcome to set that up once we get there. I'm not able to give out everyone's addresses just for privacy. Instruments are delivered on the first day, so once you talk to the store to rent the instrument, they'll actually deliver it to the Kennard site, and it'll be there on that first day. That saves you money in June and July that you're not paying, saves you a little bit of cost. And then so for band, how students are getting information from me, you want to make sure that you've signed up for band at Preston. If there's any friends that you do know that haven't signed up for band that want to, you can tell them about it and they can still join. So tonight what's going to happen, your student is super excited, and it's always fun to see the looks on their faces when they come out. They're really giddy and just having a good time. They've met new friends. They're excited to share with you what they've just done. So here's a little tip for you on how to read the scores. If it says highly recommended or there's a check plus, that means that your student is natural. So there will be some students that are natural at many of the instruments, or maybe just one, or maybe even none of them, and that's okay. That's what that highly recommended means. Almost all kids come into band with no band experience. That's what we're here for, and we'll teach them how to get started and get going. So when they come to you, you want to, talk to them and then look for the 2 highest scores that they have. Reference that selection guide. You'll have time to read that here in just a bit. And then keep in mind, for struggling learners, clarinet is the way to go. And for all learners, if your student's highly recommended on clarinet, yes, put them on clarinet. I'm a clarinet player myself. For French horn, keep in mind it needs to be very high academic, intrinsically motivated, independent students. And then just that reminder about percussion, we've been I love the community at Preston. It's just, parents have good manners. They're always very kind. Students do too. Helping out others, and then just having that open mind. If your student came in wanting to play percussion, they might be a little down tonight because they didn't do well. I know that you're going to encourage them to have an open mind and just try another instrument. And I can't get over just how great how great you are, just how lucky I am to have that community here. So the timeline, you'll receive an email from me in May, at the beginning of May. So tonight you're going to leave that getting to know you sheet, the scorecard with me, and then you've already filled out up on the computer on a Google Doc the demographic information, and that's how I'm getting your email. We do want them to go to the Kennard site. The teachers that teach at Kennard, we collaborate. We come in extra hours, more so than already expected. We have very high expectations, and your student is learning and meeting who they're going to school for. With the music stores, you will rent just the paperwork, getting the paperwork started for those rentals, and then check out and see which rentals, which music store is the best fit and giving the most success, putting your child in the most conducive situation that's conducive for success. Instruments again and supplies will be handed out that first day of summer band, and I cannot stress enough times how important it is for your students to have the right supplies. If they just use a generic mouthpiece, that's going to make a world of difference you know, I'm not going to put water in my gas tank. I'm going to get, you know, some pretty good gasoline in my car so it can run well. Same thing with just the machine cut mouthpieces. We've tested those mouthpieces. We've had our professional musicians test that out. Our students have tested those out. So we do that for that reason. So what's next? If you have any questions, email is best. That's the quickest way, easiest way, and I check email. Read through that instrument guide. You know, research the music stores. Please ensure that you're getting the models that we recommended and the supplies that we've recommended. And the supplies on the list are necessary for student success, so it's not really optional. So ensure that the music stores supply that and that you're not paying extra too. So what happens next is you'll just wait for your child here in the cafeteria, whether you want to read on your Kindle, if you want to go to Starbucks. Your child is here from the time they started. It's an hour and 45 minutes. They're contained, so if you do want to head over to Starbucks or a local coffee shop or head to Target, read a book, check out what's going on, you're welcome to do that. And then at the bottom of the supply list, you're going to see a listing of local vendors that rent instruments and supplies. You're also going to see a vendor located out of Westminster that visits our school too and works with our families. So again, thank you so much and welcome to Preston Middle School.